British coins have a way of connecting people to history, royalty, and everyday life all at once. But among the most iconic is the seven-sided 50p coin, a true staple of UK currency. What makes certain years like 1980, 1977, and 1981 so special? Whether you're a coin collector, a curious viewer, or someone hoping to find a hidden gem in your pocket, you're about to discover something exciting. These coins may look ordinary, but trust me, they carry stories, value, and historical significance that make them worth way more than their face value. So let's dive in and explore them one by one. First up, 1980 British 50p coin. Let's start with the 1980 British 50p coin, a piece that might seem ordinary at first glance, but has a quiet charm that grows the more you know about it. Released during a time of political change, economic tension, and cultural shifts in the UK, this coin represents a small but meaningful chapter in British numismatic history. Now, the first thing to know is that the 1980 50p was part of the second generation of 50p coins. The original, larger 50p coin was introduced in 1969 to replace the old 10-shilling note. But by 1980, it was already a familiar shape and size in everyone's wallets. Still, not every year's coin is equal, especially to collectors. Let's break it down: the design, mintage, historical context, value, and what makes this coin something to look out for. Design details. On the obverse, that's the front side, you'll find the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This was the second official portrait of the Queen used on coinage, and it ran from 1968 to 1984. It shows the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a design that itself has become iconic. The reverse side features a seated Britannia beside a lion, holding a trident and shield bearing the Union flag. This was designed by Christopher Ironside, and it's a beautiful symbol of British strength and unity. It's detail balanced and carries a timeless, classic look. The edge. Smooth. Unlike some coins that have ridged or lettered edges, the 1980 50p coin has a plain edge, keeping the focus on the artwork on both sides. Now let's talk specs. The 1980 50p coin was made from copper nickel, which is an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 13.5 grams and has a diameter of 30.0 millimeters, which is larger than the current 50p coins we use today. That's because the size was reduced in 1997 to make them more practical in everyday use. Mintage and rarity. When it comes to collectability, mintage numbers play a huge role. In 1980, the Royal Mint struck 89,775,000 of these coins for general circulation. That's quite a high number compared to some lower mintage years like 2009 or 2011. So, does that mean it's not rare? Not necessarily. While it may not be one of the rarest 50ps out there, its age, condition, and design still give it value. Many coins from 1980 were heavily circulated and show significant wear today. A well-preserved or uncirculated 1980 coin is harder to come by and naturally more valuable to collectors. The 1980 Brilliant Uncirculated BU set was also released for collectors. These are often found in better condition than regular circulation coins and fetch a higher price. Historical context. Let's rewind to what Britain looked like in 1980. Margaret Thatcher had just become Prime Minister in 1979. The country was going through major economic reforms, strikes, and political debates. Inflation and unemployment were serious concerns. People were tightening their belts, and money had to stretch further. Coins like the 50p played a central role in daily life, used for bus rides, groceries, newspapers, and much more. This was also a time before the internet, smartphones, or digital banking. Physical money had value not just in buying power, but also as a symbol of stability. Holding on to a solid coin, like the 50p in those days, was a tactile reminder of value and control. That backdrop makes the 1980 coin more than just metal. It's a piece of everyday British life from a transformative era. Collector's value. So let's talk about money. What's it worth today? If you have a circulated 1980 50p coin, depending on its condition, it might sell anywhere between £1 to £3. Not bad for something that costs just 50p. But if you're lucky enough to own a brilliant uncirculated or proof version, that value can shoot up to £5 to £10 or more, especially if it's still sealed in its original presentation pack from the Royal Mint. Coins graded by professional services like NGC or PCGS and receiving a high mint state grade, say MS65 or higher, can go even higher, sometimes £15 or more, because condition is king when it comes to collecting. However, beware of people trying to sell regular circulated coins online for absurd prices. Just because someone lists a coin for £100 on eBay doesn't mean it's worth that much. Always compare sold listings and refer to reliable coin catalogs or numismatic dealers. Is it worth collecting? Absolutely. Even though the 1980 50p isn't the rarest, it still holds solid collectible value. If you're building a date set of 50p coins, you need one from 1980. And if you can find one in pristine condition or still in a BU set, even better. It's also a great starting point for new collectors. Not too expensive, widely available, and rich in history. It gives you a feel for British coin design, production quality, and historical context. Plus, over time, as more of these coins disappear from circulation, their value could increase. Coins have a way of appreciating quietly when nobody's paying attention. Fun fact: did you know? The 50p coin has more sides than any other UK coin in circulation. It's a heptagon, more specifically, an equilateral curve heptagon. That unique shape was chosen so the coin would roll smoothly in vending machines like a circular coin, but still be easily distinguishable by touch and design. The 1980 coin carries that same engineering brilliance. Tips for collectors. 1. Check condition. Coins with fewer scratches, no corrosion, and strong details are always worth more. 2. Look for BU versions. These are shinier and more valuable. 3. Store properly. Use coin flips, capsules, or albums to protect your coins from air, moisture, and damage. 4. Verify authenticity. Always buy from reputable dealers or marketplaces. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. 5. Know your market. Stay updated on coin auctions and collector groups to track prices. Final thoughts. The 1980 British 50 pence coin is a solid, underrated classic. It may not scream rare or expensive, but it has history, charm, and the kind of quiet collectability that grows with time. Whether you're adding it to your collection or just found one in a drawer, it's worth holding on to. It connects us to a different Britain, one of Trident's, Tierra's, and tangible money. And that alone gives it more value than just 50 pence. Next up, 1977 British 50 pence coin. Let's travel back to the year 1977, an incredibly iconic year for British history and the monarchy. Why? Because this was the year of Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee, marking her 25 years on the throne. Britain was bursting with celebrations, and it wasn't just street parties and souvenirs. Coins were minted to mark the occasion too. One of those was the 1977 British 50 pence coin. Now, before we jump into the details, here's a quick spoiler. The 50p coin for 1977 wasn't released into general circulation. That's right, no 50p coins were struck that year for everyday use. But wait, it doesn't mean 1977 was skipped in coinage. It just means this coin is exclusively for collectors, and that alone makes it more interesting. So let's explore the design, rarity, Silver Jubilee connection, mintage numbers, and why this coin matters so much in the collecting world. No circulation, only collector's editions. Unlike the 1980 and 1981 50p coins, the 1977 edition was not made for circulation. That means you wouldn't have received it in your change at the shops or seen it rattling around in your pocket. Instead, the Royal Mint created it for collector sets, especially to commemorate the Queen's Silver Jubilee. So if you come across a 1977 50p, it's guaranteed to be in better than average condition, because it likely came from a proof set or brilliant uncirculated BU set. Most were handled carefully or stored in display packaging, giving us a higher chance to find well-preserved pieces today. Design breakdown. On the obverse front side, as usual, we have Queen Elizabeth II, once again in the familiar Arnold Mackin portrait, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait was consistent across coins in the 70s. Now, the reverse still features the classic Britannia seated beside a lion, trident in hand, shield by her side, a design by Christopher Ironside. This was still the standard design for 50p coins before commemorative designs became more frequent in later years. While the 1977 crown, 25p, was the official commemorative coin for the Silver Jubilee and had a special reverse design, the 50p stayed consistent with its original artwork. Still, its limited production and connection to a major royal event gave it value in the collector's world. Mintage numbers and sets. So how many 1977 50p coins were made? Well, the number is quite small when compared to normal circulating coins. Around 100,000 50p coins were struck that year, mainly for proof sets, both standard and silver, BU sets, some in presentation packs or souvenir cases. That's a low mintage, making it rarer than most circulation 50p coins. While it's not rare in the sense that it's impossible to find, it's scarce in high-quality condition, especially still sealed, in original packaging. Now let's talk value. Collector's value. If you own a 1977 50p coin from a BU set, it could fetch around £5 to £10, depending on the condition and packaging. However, if it's a proof version, especially one in pristine packaging or from the prestigious 1977 silver proof set, the value can rise to £15 to £25 or even more. The coin isn't made of silver, even in the silver proof set. Only the crown was silver, but its collectability and limited run make it desirable. It's important to remember, there are no circulation versions of this coin, so if you see a 1977 50p coin being advertised as rare circulated coin, that's probably misleading. Always check the presentation. Original cases, Royal Mint folders, and untouched packaging boost both value and credibility. Why 1977 was so important? So what made 1977 such a big deal? It marked 25 years since Queen Elizabeth II's accession to the throne in 1952. The entire country, and much of the Commonwealth, celebrated with massive street parties, national events, special Royal Mint releases, memorials and souvenirs. The Silver Jubilee was a moment of national pride, and the Royal Mint took that opportunity to release several coins in honor of the Queen's reign. The Crown coin got a special Silver Jubilee reverse, while the 50p stayed traditional, but was still part of the celebration sets. So owning a 1977 50p coin isn't just about having a collectible. It's about owning a symbol of the Queen's Silver Jubilee, a frozen moment in time, marking her journey as monarch through a quarter of a century. Investment potential. Now you might wonder, should you hold onto this coin? Yes, and here's why. It has historical value, being linked to a key royal milestone. It has limited mintage, with no general circulation version. As time passes, intact sets and coins in top condition become rarer. It's part of a complete 50p date run, meaning if you're building a full collection of every year, 1977 is a key puzzle piece. The price may not explode overnight, but will gradually appreciate, especially among collectors of British royal memorabilia or 50p coin enthusiasts. How to spot a genuine 1977 50p. If you find a coin labeled 1977 50p, check. Condition, BU or proof finish. These are sharp, shiny, and clearly struck. Packaging, if it's still in a Royal Mint set, that's a strong sign of authenticity. Weight, should be exactly 13.5 g and 30 millimeters in diameter, same as other pre-1997 50p coins. Edge, smooth, as usual with 50p coins of the era. What makes it special? So let's recap why the 1977 50p coin stands out. Not released for circulation. Tied to one of the most celebrated royal events in UK history. Limited mintage. Only available in collector sets. Often kept in high-grade condition, ideal for display and resale. Even though it doesn't feature a custom reverse design like many modern commemorative 50ps, its value lies in what it represents, not just how it looks. And let's be honest, there's something magical about holding a coin made during a year when the entire country was celebrating the Queen's legacy. Fun fact. Here's a neat little bonus fact. The 1977 Jubilee celebrations included Queen Elizabeth's nationwide tour where she visited 36 counties in the UK. Millions lined the streets to catch a glimpse. If you're holding a 1977 50p, think of it like a backstage pass to that moment in time. Tips for collectors. If you're hunting for this coin, look for Royal Mint 1977 BU or proof sets on reputable platforms. Avoid loose coins unless they're clearly uncirculated. Store in a cool, dry place to avoid tarnishing. Keep original packaging. It increases resale value. Don't confuse it with the 1977 25p Jubilee crown many do. Final thoughts. The 1977 British 50 pence coin may not have been spent in shops or passed from hand to hand, but that's exactly what makes it special. It was never meant for circulation. It was meant to be kept, treasured, and remembered. This coin is a tiny time capsule, capturing the pride of a nation celebrating 25 years of leadership under Queen Elizabeth II. Whether you're a die-hard royalist, a seasoned numismatist, or just someone fascinated by British history, the 1977 50p coin deserves a place in your collection. It's not just metal, it's memory. And it's worth far more than its face value when you consider the story it tells. Next up, 1981 British 50 pence coin. And now let's wrap up this fascinating 50p journey with a look at the 1981 British 50 pence coin, a classic piece from an important year that often gets overshadowed in coin collecting circles, but it really shouldn't. While it might not have been a commemorative year like 1977 or a low mintage sleeper coin, the 1981 50p still carries a unique numismatic vibe that makes it a must-have for collectors, especially if you're building a complete UK 50p date collection. Let's dive into the design, mintage, coin details, condition, collector value, and what made the year 1981 so important, both for Britain and its coinage. The basics. What's the 1981 50p coin? Just like its 1980 predecessor, the 1981 British 50p coin was struck in the standard large-size format with a traditional copper-nickel composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighed 13.5 grams, had a diameter of 30.0 millimeters, and featured the same familiar heptagonal shape that made it instantly recognizable. This was one of the final years for the larger-size 50p coins before they were redesigned in 1997 into a smaller version for practicality. So in a way, the 1981 coin sits at the end of a design era. Obverse design. On the obverse, the 1981 50p features the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This depiction of the Queen is elegant and reserved, showing her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait was used on coins from 1968 until 1984, so it's common, but still highly respected for its clean and classic aesthetic. This side of the coin also includes the legend, Elizabeth II D.G.Reg.F.D.1981, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Even though we've seen this portrait many times across various coins, there's something iconic about how it marks that stretch of consistency in British coinage. Every time you look at it, it's a reminder of a steady reign and timeless tradition. Reverse design. The reverse of the coin continues to feature the striking and symbolic seated Britannia with a lion, designed by Christopher Ironside. This design had been the go-to reverse for 50p coins since their introduction in 1969 and still carried immense respect. Britannia holds her trident in her left hand and rests her right on a shield featuring the Union flag. A lion sits loyally at her feet, a clear nod to Britain's strength and resilience. The reverse also includes the coin's denomination, 50 new pence. Now here's a tiny detail that matters. 1981 was the final year the coin carried the words new pence on the reverse. From 1982 onwards, the inscription changed to simply 50 pence. This small wording shift marked a significant change in British coinage style and terminology. So 1981 becomes a key transitional coin in terms of design history. Mintage figures. The 1981 50p coin had a mintage of 74,192,000, making it relatively common in circulation at the time. However, that doesn't mean it's worthless today. Here's why. Over the years, as these coins were used, lost, damaged, or withdrawn from circulation, especially during the 1997 size reduction, high-grade examples have become more difficult to find. So while it's not considered rare in the strictest sense, finding one in mint or near-mint condition is far more difficult today. Also, keep in mind that collectors looking to complete a full year-by-year collection of 50p coins absolutely need the 1981 version, especially since it's the final new pence coin. That adds long-term demand. Collector's value. Let's talk value. As of now, a circulated 1981 50p in average condition may only fetch about £1 to £2 on collector markets. Not massive, but still double or more than its face value. But for coins in brilliant uncirculated BU condition or those from 1981 proof sets, you're looking at values between £5 to £15, depending on packaging, shine, and preservation. Proof coins with perfect mirror finishes and sharp detail can fetch even more, especially when graded and encapsulated by a professional grading service. Collectors especially prize BU coins in original Royal Mint folders. 1981 50p coins from deluxe proof sets. Coins in graded slabs with MS65 plus ratings. So yes, the circulated version might be common, but the higher quality variants are very much collectible. What happened in 1981? Now, let's zoom out for a moment. What was happening in Britain during 1981? It was a year of tension, but also national pride and massive public interest. The biggest event. Prince Charles married Lady Diana Spencer on July 29, 1981, at St. Paul's Cathedral. It was watched by an estimated 750 million people worldwide. A true fairy tale moment in modern royal history. Now, while the 50p coin of that year didn't commemorate this wedding, that was reserved for a crown-sized 25p coin, the 1981 50p still sits beside that memory in the timeline. It's from the same royal era and reflects the monarchy's peak popularity during that time. Also, Britain was dealing with economic challenges, unemployment, inflation, riots in some major cities, and political shifts. Against this backdrop, coins like the 50p were very much part of everyday survival and spending. That's what makes it special. It's a coin from the streets of 1981, touched, traded, and trusted during a time of real change. Key fact, the last new pence. As mentioned earlier, 1981 was the final year the denomination new pence appeared on UK coins. This was originally introduced in 1971 when the UK decimalized its currency, helping people get used to the new money system. By 1982, new was dropped as it was no longer new. So the 1981 50p marks the end of the new pence era. That makes it a key date for collectors. If you're putting together a timeline or telling the story of Britain's decimal coinage, this is the punctuation mark between two eras. Spotting a good one. If you're looking for a quality 1981 50p, here's what to check. Lustrous shine. BU coins should have a bright, clean surface. Crisp detail. Look at Britannia's shield and the lion's paws. Sharp detail is a good sign. No nicks or dings. Coins with minimal will fetch higher prices. Packaging, original proof, or BU sets add value. Also be cautious of clean coins. These might look shiny but are actually damaged in value. Fun fact. The heptagonal shape of the 50p coin wasn't just for style. It was a mathematical and engineering choice. The equilateral curve heptagon allows vending machines to recognize it as a round object in terms of rotation and rolling, while still being distinct by touch and sight. The 1981 coin shares this clever engineering, just like its siblings. Should you keep it? Absolutely. Whether you found it in a collection, inherited it, or bought it as part of a BU set, it's a coin worth hanging on to. Here's why. It's a transitional piece marking the last of the new pence. It's still relatively affordable, making it accessible to new collectors. Over time, higher-grade examples will become harder to find. It fits into historical events and currency reform. Plus, it's just a beautiful coin to own. Final thoughts. The 1981 British 50p coin may not be flashy or ultra-rare, but it carries weight in British coin history. It's the end of the new pence journey, the last of a tradition, and a survivor of a turbulent, memorable year in British society.